Hi, so I haven't posted in a while. I feel like every time I stop posting, it somehow takes me longer to post again. I was thinking of making kind of like an update video on what has happened since I posted my last video. War happened. Thankfully, my family and I were safe. It was insane. I feel like it got to a point where by the end, every time we'd hear like a blast, we'd panic for like 5 to 10 minutes just to know where the blast took place, then to check up on any family or friends we have there. We'd make sure they're good, then we'd go on with our day as if nothing happened. And it kind of became like the new normal for a while, which is insane to think about. Our parents used to tell us these crazy stories about when they experienced war and the things they used to do. And we always thought that, oh, they're exaggerating. But then a few years later, we got to go through the same thing. And yeah, the way I coped was playing Minecraft with my cousin who was stuck here and diamond paintings. I've done a shit ton of diamond paintings, it's insane. They're a great distraction, by the way, strongly recommend. So that happened. We also moved houses. Remember these two cats? Well, here's what happened. So it was around the time we were moving and war was happening that we noticed a lump on Candy's breast. And we were like, it's not cancer, but we're gonna take her to the vet either way. They removed the tumor. They were like, it is cancer. We got her back home. We were like, okay, we're good. We removed the tumor. She's gonna be fine. We know a lot of people who have cats or dogs who one day developed breast cancer and then they were fine. When we brought her back home, I noticed another lump. I called the vet. I was like, hey, so I think you missed a tumor. They were like, no, you're probably just feeling the stitches or like the inflammation. I was like, okay, sure. But the incision was here. I felt the lump somewhere here. We ended up taking her to another vet after she's had time to like recover because she was considered like a senior cat. We couldn't really put her under anesthesia for too long because she's a senior cat and she might have complications. Then we did another major surgery. We removed all of the breast tissue and she was recovering really well. They told us there might be a chance that it would metastasize to the lungs, but at this point she's good, she's stable, like, take her home. We took her home, she was doing well for a few months. We noticed that Brandy was developing flu-like symptoms. We were like, okay, probably just like the flu or something. She has a cold. We took her to the vet. They were like, it's bronchitis. Here are some meds you can give her. We were giving her meds, and then Candy started developing breathing problems. We were like, probably she caught whatever Brandy had. We took Candy to the vet. They did some imaging and they noticed fluids in the lungs. They were like, okay, like her breathing isn't normal and there's fluid in the lungs, so we're gonna have to keep her for a bit just to like monitor, remove some of the fluids. Then they asked us if we wanted to test the fluid they removed for any cancer cells, and the test came back positive. So that's when we knew like her cancer had metastasized to the lungs. It was around that time we were also talking to the vet. We were like, Brandy's symptoms aren't really improving. They were like, yeah, bronchitis might take a while. They were like, we're gonna do some imaging. When they did, they found a big ass tumor on her lungs. At that point, we were like, this can't be happening. We already knew like Candy's prognosis was poor. We were basically just managing the symptoms near the end. And now Brandy developed a tumor like out of nowhere. Brandy wasn't eating and she was throwing up. It was around that time that Candy's condition just kept worsening. we were going for weekly vet's appointments, and at one point they were like, it's best if you basically put her to sleep. And we had to make that decision, which was so hard because we knew that we were gonna have to do that, but we wanted to like make sure we did everything we could for her. So we ended up having to like put her to sleep after a few months of, maybe like a couple of months of managing the symptoms. For Brandy, we wanted to take multiple vets' opinions because at first it was bronchitis, then it was a tumor, then it was you can't do anything, and other vets were like, maybe we can do something. Anyway, one vet told us that they wanted to do more imaging to see if we can maybe remove the lobe where the tumor is, but they needed to do more imaging for that. So we were like, okay, maybe there is hope. I should have known. I'm kidding. We did like a CT scan for Brandy, and turns out there was a mass on the lungs, but there was another mass near the heart. And around her heart, there were like fluids. The difference between Brandy and Candy is that Candy, basically, like, she kept eating, she was fine, her energy was like, obviously it was affected, but not as much as Brandy. Brandy wasn't eating, she lost 4 kilograms. She was obese, to be fair. Not me fat shaming a cat. Anyway, like she was around 6 kilograms, and then near the end she was like 2 kilograms, which was insane. She had very little energy left, and one day we took her to the vet. They wanted to keep her there. Then the next day the vet called us. They were like, there's very little we can do. And she was exhausted, and we had to make the decision again to put her to sleep. So we lost both our cats in 2025. We've had them since the second they were born. I'm not gonna even say day they were born because it was like the second they were born. I was with them since the second they came out. So losing them, honestly, it was really hard. But oh well. I don't know how to like fucking talk about this stuff. Therapy's been good. I've never needed therapy more than this year. I'm kidding. Maybe no, therapy was very beneficial this year. But yeah, no, on a serious note, like, I'm glad I'm at the point where I am now, because if the stuff that I just talked about were to happen like a few years ago, it wouldn't have ended well. What else? I got my psychology degree, finally. I graduated. They called out the wrong name, and that same day I had my first patient die. We also adopted this thing. I don't know what she is. She's fucking insane, I swear. Like, from the minute we got her, like, she's insane. Honestly, I was like, at first my brother wanted to adopt a kitten, and I was like, I don't want to feel like I'm replacing Candy and Brandy, but the love I have for this one is so different than the love I had for these two. Like, I feel like these will forever be my babies, and I have enough space in my heart. She's biting me. This is what we have to deal with. Anyway, so yeah. What else? My body isn't working. I was accused. Okay, here's what happened. She's fucking insane. Anyway, I was watching one of my last 2 videos, and in one part I was like, does anybody else feel exhausted when they eat? Is it just me, or does anybody else, like, after eating you feel like exhausted? Like, I'm drained, like I can go to bed now. Turns out that is because of reactive hypoglycemia. So basically, the way they explained it to me, first we did a bunch of tests because we didn't know what was happening. So every time I ate, my blood sugar would drop instead of going up. And everyone was like, what? And I was like, hmm. So yeah, they were like, are you taking Ozempic?
So you think I was...
I was like, no. The way they explained it to me was that because, okay, you know how refeeding syndrome sometimes happens when your body goes a long period of time without eating and then you start refeeding it and the electrolytes go all over the place. So basically that's what's happening with me, except it's reactive hypoglycemia. So like I eat, my body panics. Understandable. I'm kidding. I shouldn't be making jokes. I should really know when to stop. But no, like, okay, so my body panics, it releases too much insulin, and then my blood sugar drops. It got to a point where doctors didn't really know what was happening because it was happening so frequently. They accused me of taking Ozempic. They wanted me to do a bunch of drug tests. I was like, So yeah, and they didn't even think of asking my therapist if there is a possibility that I'd be doing drugs. I was like, I wish. I'm kidding. I need to stop saying. I'm gonna stop this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Now I'm going into my last semester of nursing school. It's insane to think about that, honestly. It was an insane year. That's why I haven't been posting. And also because nursing school is its own kind of work and drama, and it's intense. This is hopefully my last semester and I'll be graduating during spring of 2026, so like in a few months. I don't know if I'm gonna post a video anytime soon. Maybe I'll do like a vlog, but I'm not sure. At this point, who knows when I'm gonna post again. It might be in a few days, it might be in a couple of years. Who the knows? But yeah, that's it. That's the update. I hope you've all been good and well. Bye.